Thank you very much for joining me. And Suniel Shetty, it's such a pleasure to have you. Relaxed, dad, granddad, actor, restaurateur, and I read your bio that you use on your social media, and I see the several shades of your personality that are there. It says sportsman at heart. Uh, Always that, or after your son-in-law?
No, more so after my son-in-law. Now the heart is only there, literally there at home, but always, always.
And then you say actor by art, humanitarian by virtue, and businessman by default. Why by default?
Default because, probably because of dad's situation, when he was unwell is the time that I got pushed into business at an early age, 15, and then got obsessed with it, obsessed with making, seeing that so many people were taken care of while you were also making money. It was also about making sure that everybody was inclusive, and that's why I say that, because it was default. After that, which I went into films early in my career, then still try to dabble with business, but that default switch that was on helped me go through even my worst periods.
32 years in cinema.
Absolutely.
How's the going been, and what drives you every day? I believe you're still coming up with films. Kesri Veer coming up. You have Welcome to the Jungle coming up. What drives you after all of these years to push yourself?
See, I've seen the highs, the lows, seen the love that you get. I believe cinema is, being an actor is, and a grounded one is like a passport to anybody's heart. The love, the affection, the growth that I've seen personally. Then came a time when dad was unwell. I took a complete sabbatical. Not that I took it completely because of that, because also my films weren't doing well and I didn't want to do any kind of crap that was there. So took a break. Now come back doing a lot of work. But at the same time, now looking for that one film that is a box office success, and I can probably step back and say, you know what?
Sab kuch kar liya.
Sab kuch kar liya. My last few films didn't work at the box office. And that is something that hasn't left a very good taste in my mouth, because I know for a fact that there were mistakes I made. Whatever. I wore my heart on my sleeve and, went into emotions and did films, but that's my doing. So I just want to make sure that I undo that, and that's why I give it my best even today.
So, what genre actually excites you? The Main Hoon Na, the villainous role where you got a Filmfare Award as well, or Dhadkan, mushy, romantic hero, of course, with some shades of grey there, or Hera Pheri, out and out, a comic film, great humor. What makes Suniel Shetty tick?
I think something that a film like Kesri Veer, because it talks about our unsung heroes, a film like Border, Hera Pheri, yes, because I also believe that is also a film that makes a lot of difference to the mental state of kids that are there today. Everybody talks stress, everybody talks anxiety. I think those are the films that keep you relaxed and say, you know what, this is life. This is what life is all about. Struggles are always there, but you can come out of it and still try and be happy. So I think it's a mix. But if I can do something from a country perspective, nothing like it.
Border, of course, army officer, and I think it's the best film that's been made, of course. I mean, every film that you see in that genre, Hakikat onwards, that we remember.
Yes.
But Border in our times has been an iconic film. Is Kesri Veer taking you? You're saying this country. Do you think this is also the time where, we have Kesri Chapter 2 coming in, we have Diplomat coming in, this country fervor that is coming into films?
It should be. That should be the narrative. Every film has to have a narrative, and it has to have a narrative that is positive. Like I said, a Hera Pheri that keeps people happy, or a Kesri 2, or a Kesri Veer, or a Chhawa, or any of those films that talks about our heroes, our unsung heroes. We were only taught about Aurangzeb and Shah Jahan and Akbar and Birbal. What about Vegda? What about the other heroes that are there? Every story from the smallest of town has to be told. America has always followed that narrative, always created heroes that, and made their army, their air force, and they look like the only nation that is supposed to be numero uno. Why? We are bigger culturally and otherwise. And that's what needs to go out. Today, every part of us, after, post the pandemic, whether it was yoga, whether it was Ayurveda, it was healing through food, has gone out to the world. And the world is looking at that, whether it's a spiritual journey that they want to follow. It is India that they are doing. When were people ever aware of the fact that, young kids wanting to go for Char Dham, wanting to go to see Mahadev, go to the best of temples? I think that is happening because of the narrative. In the last 10, 12 years, with this government, it's been very clear that you sell your India story and you'll see success. And these films are seeing success. I've realized that the gap that is there purely because the Indian audience is looking for a Maruti car to buy, and we're telling them, you know what, buy a Rolls Royce. It's a better car. Well, that's not the way it is. Your audience is completely different and has changed.
But let me ask you. When you say the country's changed in the last 10, 12 years, aren't you scared you'll be trolled because there are people who will call you Sanghi, they will call you Modi Bhakt, and that's not very fashionable in the world that you come from?
I believe in my country all through these years. That narrative I'm seeing there now, so I'm excited. So that hasn't changed me as an individual. I did Border. Even then, I did a Mehuna because I believed that that army man was right in what he did. He knew who the opposition was. He knew that you need to stop something to win our hearts. You treat us like we treat you and everything will be good. So I've always done films like that. Every film of mine was good over evil. And it was a very clear good over evil. Every film where I wore a uniform gave me success, and I realized that that's what people want to see. People want to see a rags to riches story. People want to see somebody overcome, maybe the troubled times in life and see better times and take people along with them.
But there are others in Bollywood who probably feel more moved by Gaza than by Pahalgam.
I think it takes all kinds to in this world. But for me, Pahalgam matters more than anything else. Of course, Gaza matters when it comes to human lives, for sure. But these are also my very own. This is a part of my country that has always been very, very close to our hearts. And the kind of fear that is being generated around that is keeping us away. That is something that we should
You
be doing.
tweeted immediately after Pahalgam, and you said that we should continue to do our vacations in Kashmir.
Continue to do our vacations, continue not to, let fear take over, let people not divide us for any reason, because that's the aim. And if we are not divided, we stand united. It's so beautiful.
Are the divisions really being imposed on us from the outside, or are there deep divisions within our own society, whether it is Bollywood, whether it is our political class, whether it is our society? Where are these divisions coming from?
I think as of now, it is the outside world, which is also having an impact here. And without divisions here, things can't go wrong. Things will always fall into place if there's no division here. And that's why the statement of let's stay united, that's the only way we can stay strong all along. I've always been saying that, and not now. I've always been vocal about the way I've felt.
But Operation Sindoor, do you think this was an Indian victory, or do you believe the narrative that is being spun around, not just by Pakistan, but also by some people within our own country, especially in the political class, who like to believe कि हमारी धुनाई हो गई, हमें पीट दिया, and it was dictated by China and US, and we are a pygmy in this entire world stage. How do you see it from your perspective?
See, you said it's a narrative, and I believe it's a narrative. It's genuinely a narrative, and as far as I see it, I see Bharat Ma, I see Colonel Qureshi, and I see Wing Commander Colonel Singh. That's how I see my India. And that's the way I see, how we even hit back and said, I see my army, the chief of army, navy, Air Force sit together and give you clear proof of what has happened. They showed you what were images of a week ago and a week later. And that's the narrative I believe in. Those are the people I've grown up admiring, worshipping, and that's the only narrative I'll take back home. So for me, I see it as a country that is clear that it wants to harm those organizations that are harming us and not anybody else. And that's how we went ahead with our operation. There were no civilians that were hurt intentionally. You know, collateral damage happens. There was no There was no public place that was impacted. We've been troubled constantly, and we hit back only there. There was nothing else that we did, and that's what Bharat and Bharat ki sabhyata and our culture is all about.
But then, who gains from these divisions that get reflected? In fact, today, the foreign minister has been called a mukbir, a spy. How do you respond to these kind of?
I think this is social media. We've got to stop responding and continue to.
This is press conferences.
Political gain. I mean, I'm not a politician, so I genuinely wouldn't know what and how they would benefit. Probably because of the majority that exists in the current government, and one doesn't see hope, is when one makes statements like those. You know, even Bollywood, it's constantly being targeted. I mean, we are people who've been involved in telling the narrative of the country. Actors are scared to speak today because either way they'll get hammered. You know, and a lot of them are saying, "Oh, Bollywood hasn't said something." Maybe Bollywood is making movies to tell that to get that narrative.
Are you buying the rights of Operation Sindoor as the buzz has it?
No, not me, but I know other people would. I would have loved to to be able to again tell that narrative and tell our story, not from a money perspective. You know, if Bollywood does it, they'd always say, "हाँ, पैसे बनाने के लिए कर रहे." नहीं, narrative देने के लिए कर रहे. अगर नहीं खराब बनी तो नहीं चलेगी. लेकिन आप अगर देश की कहानियों के बारे में बात करोगे, and if you talk that narrative, you will see a big difference. Why are films otherwise, you know, these kind of films successful films?
Is there a debate within Bollywood on whether Hania Aamir or you know, Mahira Khan or Fawad Khan should be actors? Should we allow Pakistani actors to be part of Bollywood? They don't allow any of our actors to be part of their.
So I've been always very vocal about saying, no, they shouldn't be a part of our cinema. Why should we? Not because we are not being allowed, but because from that very own country, in that very own country, exist these organizations. So why should be? You take care of your organization, make sure it doesn't harm us, and then over a period of time, maybe if the government believes and the people believe that there should be harmony, there will be harmony. But as of now, I've always said that we should not allow anybody from there to be a part of our cinema.
What about the liberal section of Bollywood, which says this is an art form and creativity should have no borders?
It is an art form. There's no doubt about it. Creativity should not have borders. But what we are going through is something that we are going through. So I think then all that
adds up
and should be out. All that adds up. See, right now the way I see it is also a lot of our actors are being projected in a negative way, which is not the case. I mean, you spend time with them, you know that everybody fears the backlash of social media. Whether you like it or not, any statement that is made is generally hammered for or against. So I think we have to forget all that and come back to the real world and see we're bleeding, we're hurting.
But is it the fear of losing audiences globally? Because they say, after all, Hindi cinema कौन appreciate करेगा? जो हिंदुस्तान में है और जो लोग, you know, the NRIs abroad or maybe the Pakistanis, the Middle Easterners who understand the language. Is it the fear of losing that audience that makes actors keep quiet?
No, definitely not. It's just that I think each one of us has gone through so much with the best of intentions. Also, if I say something, somebody takes a word out, a line out, and puts it out there, and then the trashing starts. It doesn't impact us. It impacts the family. It impacts the family in a very, very big way. And then that's when it says, keep quiet. But each one of them is today definitely planning to do something that'll have an impact on the people. And I feel cinema is the best narrative, or a show is the best narrative to put out, a story to put out, to tell people about this beautiful country.
But Bollywood in itself is going through a bad phase.
Yeah.
I remember in the past you've spoken about the days, when the Dauds and the underworld was calling the shots in Bollywood. What is this drift that one sees in Bollywood? Films are not doing well. Projects, are not able to spin that kind of hook for viewers.
Yeah, that is because our distribution sucks. We don't have the theaters anymore. The price factor is the biggest problem. That's what I said, the difference between a Maruti and a Rolls Royce. You're talking about a 100 rupee ticket. You're talking about 2, 3, 4, 5,000 rupees for every movie that you go to. If an average income is 20,000, 25,000 a month, the father will fear taking the family out there, because he's aware that 25% of probably half of his salary is gone.
बाटा की चप्पल अब नहीं है, अब गुच्ची है खाली.
Absolutely. तो ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आप इसकी प्राइसिंग सही करो, और फिल्में जो बनानी है देश के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से फिल्में बनाओ. आप सब्सिडीज के लिए फिल्में मत बनाओ. आप देश के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देश में फिल्में बनाओ.
What do you mean by subsidies? Elaborate.
आज मैं एक फिल्म की बात कर रहा हूँ और बोल रहा हूँ यहाँ इंडिया सेंट्रिक फिल्म है, और मुझे कहीं मोरक्को में 40% सब्सिडी मिल रही है, मैं उस सब्जेक्ट को वहाँ लेके जाता हूँ, तो इंडियन कैसे रहेगा?
Okay. So it's not connecting with the viewers.
It is not connecting with that. So now, but it's giving their tourism a boost, but it's impacting Turkey too. Turkey included. Now, so I don't think anybody will plan on doing that. But I honestly feel that we should use the subsidies that we get here. Every state is giving a subsidy. Tell a story of an unsung hero from there, and they're very interesting stories.
But just state subsidies, is that how films' storylines are really based on? Is that the driving force rather than the narrative, the story?
No, but it has been a lot of cinema, wherever there's subsidies, if there's a 30%, 40% subsidy, people are trying to make films within that budget and trying to pull out films. So it's a business proposition. Of course, it will always remain a business proposition, but we should also make sure that we are making subjects that will touch the heart of the people here, and the returns come. But like I said, corporates are making films. The distribution is no more a business for an individual from the state. It's at that
the big film studios.
The studios. So when a common man is not involved in that, पापा धंधा नहीं चला रहे होंगे, मैनेजर से धंधा नहीं चलता इस देश में. पापा का वहाँ रहना ज़रूरी है ताकि वो he makes enough money to feed his family. So there's a
disconnect.
There's a disconnect in the chain, in the whole distribution part of it. South is still making films, and their films are working, and there's recovery because the pricing is right. 200 रुपये के ऊपर टिकट करोगे तो हम थिएटर को ही बैन कर देंगे. तो प्राइस फैक्टर इस देश में it matters a hell of a lot.
Are we making films now only for multiplexes? Is that the problem?
That was the problem, but I think things have changed. We've realized over a period of 5, 7, 10 years that we also need to make films, for single screens. But unfortunately, post the pandemic, a lot of single screens have shut. So that needs support. That needs state support. Every state has to look at cinema as a way to tell a narrative about the work that is being done or anything that is happening in that state. Instead of using money to tell people what work is being done, if you could create a story around that and present it as a film, and the state supports it, things will change. See, things like the wave and now Didi doing its own OTT and all that will bring about a change, because
Is OTT eating into the film, the traditional film business?
yes and no. Yes, because it comes to your home. No, because if we control it and make sure that it goes to OTT after X amount of period, that the charm will remain. Also, OTT is one revenue stream. So you can't do away with revenue streams, because otherwise if it's just theatrical, it's a big risk. So here, whether it's satellite, whether it's OTT or direct pay-per-view or whatever, if it comes, the more streams that are there, the better it will be.
So let me ask you, with a film like Kesri Veer, what is the message that you want to bring? Unsung heroes, fine. But are these films expensive, and will they break even? Is that something that bothers the financiers, the producers, the actors working in it?
Definitely, because it impacts your market. It impacts it. It's a producer mind. Kesri Veer working is very important here because it's a first-time producer. He did the first film with this budget, in spite having smaller actors from a recovery perspective, not making business sense because of the passion he has. He's from Gujarat. His wife, who passed away, said, if you ever make a movie, I want you to do it on Somnath because the story is beautiful. So for him to work, and if he has to stay in this industry, the film has to work. Financially, it has to work. But at the same time, I believe that these are stories that people are lapping up. Where we talk about dharma, karma, and seva. What are we Hindus all about? And that we've never gone outside. We've never tried to convert. We've never tried to harm anybody else. But if somebody came into our country, we've fought tooth and nail. This talks about 150 men fighting an army of over 4,000 people and being able to stop that plundering that was planned. So it's one of the attacks on Somnath. So I feel, it's about the first Jyotirling. It's about Mahadev. So I feel that connect is definitely there. And, today, I see a whole new generation looking at that. It could be for mental peace. It could be to believe that it makes a difference to your being. I see that difference.
In our childhood, maybe Amar Chitra Katha filled that gap.
Yes.
Now
cinema.
The present generation.
Cinema, AI. I mean, see the mantras, see the shlokas, see the images that of whether it's Shiva, Vishnu, Hanumanji, that you see that AI is generating. That's when you say AI is brilliant. Yeah. It's telling you a story. To be able to tell a child a story visually leaves a solid impact.
Amazing. So am I talking to a very mellowed Suniel Shetty, not the angry young man of you're now a nana, you're a grandpa, son-in-law, launching your son. You've been through this.
True.
How does your role as a grandfather compare to all the other roles that you've played so far?
The best role ever, and
the real life grandpa.
Real life, and I know she'll be with me till my dying day. So that's something I know that'll be there, and I'll continue to look forward. They say, sood se.
Asal se sood pyara.
Yeah, mool se sood pyara. That's exactly, I think, the feeling right now, and bliss. Being an actor, being busy through the day, having no 9 to 6 kid, but a 9 to next morning 9 also at shoots sometimes. You miss the children growing up. Though I made an attempt to take them with me. I made an attempt to take a Sunday holiday. But here it's out of...
So what do you do? What do you do with your granddaughter?
Right now, just watching her grow. Watching her grow, watching Thea, admiring Thea grow into that mother. Watching Mana suddenly becoming the responsible and crazy loving Nani. Ahan, that Mamu, So it's just that, just enjoying the simple things in life.
Simple? Are they simple? What's the sense? Have you actually done any grandpa duties of carrying the baby, putting her to sleep?
Carrying the baby, yes. Trying to put her to sleep, yes. But I'm still scared because she's really tiny. So, the
Are
tendency
there any duties divided?
between mother and daughter. And I think the mama and the nana have to make sure that they are around.
They're available. But you made a statement that went quite viral, that you lauded Atia for going through a natural delivery process, and then you were trolled.
No, it's very sad that's what I'm saying. Nobody sees those 400 lines or 200 lines that were said uh, about why every young father needs to spend time when his wife is on delivery, because that's when he realizes that the most beautiful thing in his life is, of course, the birth of his daughter, but the arrival of a new mother. माँ को वो दर्जा दिया जाता है, and that is what I wanted to say. I never compared. I only said it. Probably my choice of words were wrong, but what I meant was, I know what a C-section is. It's months of recovery. What I said was, at least you can choose the date, the time, the date. Okay, it works from a perspective of right timing and all that. I was not comparing
The two processes.
the two processes. No, why would I have a daughter? But this is a part of it,
Yeah,
and I think
blame the media for everything.
no, I'm
Is-
not
is
blaming
it-
the media at all. But then it's something that I've there's an interview that I've given, but it's not they who put it out. It was somebody else who took it, stick and paste, and put only 2 lines of it out. Whereas there's no way I've compared, but I am a father, so I was talking about my daughter and what the world sees when this change happens in the husband and in everybody. As parents, as a father, there was a lot of traveling I did. So I saw Mana go through a lot, and I've said this 32 years ago, that changed my life when I saw her deliver. I'd give her the position of my mother, but I didn't see her go through this kind of pain every single day, this kind of joy and this kind of pain every single day.
Yes.
But as a grandfather, because I have time, I see Athiya. So, hats off to women. I probably value Mana another
More
10
today.
times more today, because I was working. I came back at night. She was tired. She was sleeping. She would go feed the baby. I'd do my bit as a father. But we are here, and that's where the mothers are.
And how is it like handling a very popular son-in-law, KL Rahul, iconic cricketer? Difficult, or is he?
No, he's like a little baby. I mean, I keep telling Thea she's blessed. She's blessed to have someone like him in her life.
His career ups and downs? Does he come to you for advice?
Never. He always says, my bat will talk. And his only obsession is playing for the country. There's no other obsession. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, any position. He says, I want to play for my India. And that's the beauty. So it's, what will I tell him? It's only advice that, or only inspiration that I'd take, or Han would take, or any one of us would take.
But at home, are star cricketers and star actors, how do they talk to each other? How do they treat each other? Like stars?
No, not at all. Like pure family. It's like me having 2 sons, a daughter, and mother at home, and it's just board games and nothing else, and just chit chat.
What next, Suniel Shetty? What would you want to do next? What's the next, unfulfilled goal that you have in mind?
To continue this fitness till my dying day, and make sure that.
I hope you're not being sarcastic
No,
with
I'm
me.
not. No. You're a grandmother too now, so you know what? I think for both of us, it's about being able to pick up that grandchild and keep up with their energy, because that energy is
Yes.
energy that you will never see anywhere. That energy you will never see anywhere.
So what is your fitness regime like? Are you still pumping iron like you used to?
No. I understand that I'm aging, and I just want to make sure that I'm not hunching, I'm not dragging my feet. So I do a lot of functional stuff to keep that structure going. I eat, I quantify my food, but I train 1 hour, 1.5 hour every morning, from probably 6 to 7, 7:30. And yeah, and
6
keep
to
it simple.
7:30.
Yeah, keep it simple because there's a lot of stretching, warm up and cool
Bollywood
down.
people get up that early
I
in the
do.
morning?
I do. I sleep by 10:30. See, you know what? The thing is, Bollywood is the toughest industry to be a part of. Everybody sees the glamour of it, but to stay in shape, to make sure that you're always watched, that you're at your best behavior, to make sure that you're saying the right things all the time, it's the biggest pain.
And
You
you're
can't
looking
be
good.
you can't be you.
Despite a late night, despite your
You have to
hard
look good.
schedule,
You
you
have
have
to
to.
look good. So what do you
And
do for that?
pressure of doing things, especially at your age,
I
a
don't.
facelift or a Botox
I
here
I've
or there,
I've
or
not done anything, fortunately. But why are we talking about Bollywood? I mean, I see that everywhere, and I see that with people who are 20 and 25 who are doing it. The thing is, because Bollywood is out there everywhere. People are talking about, but I think the least is done in Bollywood. The maximum in Bollywood, what they try to do is train hard, get new trainers, keep chefs, improve their diet. There's nothing like what diet can do to you and training can do to you. Nothing, nothing. The minute you start your cardio right and your food right, you'll see those jawlines. You'll see everything falling into place. It's a shortcut that the outside world is using, and it's convenient to say Bollywood, Bollywood. So
Anna, what next? What defines Sunil Shetty? And is Hera Pheri 3 actually going to happen?
you know what, I'm
Paresh
really,
Rawal's made his statement.
yeah, I know, and Ahan sent me that today. I saw it yesterday, but Ahan sent me that today, and I'm really upset and wanting to go back and find out what I'm clueless. It's a shock actually. It's like
Do you think either of you three walks out of the film will be the same?
no way, no,
Akshay, yourself,
no,
Paresh.
no, it can't happen. It can't happen.
So what's the mystery? Are you saying you haven't picked up the phone and spoken to him?
I did speak to Pareji. I called him, but he didn't seem very happy, and said, "Anna, we'll talk." So I've left it at that. You have to give him that space, and he has to understand, and probably we'll understand why it happened. I'm telling you, I'm in a state of shock.
Is there room for maneuver there?
I hope there is. I mean, seeing our relationship between the three of us, there should be. But Pareshji making a statement like that, because he's one person I absolutely love, and we get along like a house on fire. We're very, very close. But this time I felt I'd be interfering if I did ask. I think I need to personally go and sit down with him and just understand. But otherwise, I'm absolutely clueless, but heartbroken. Because my kids called me up totally heartbroken.
Exactly. I mean, a whole lot of people out there are heartbroken. You've got to make this work. This is probably your next project before the project.
Seriously.
To turn Paresh Rawal around.
Seriously.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean,
Have you spoken to Akshay?
Short, but Akshay is also clueless.
So you've discussed. Is a battle plan ready?
I mean,
to convince
we are
him?
all hoping that it was a bad day. But yeah. I mean, the thing is, I've been traveling and continuously out of it. This is a very sensitive issue because, media saying it is fine. अच्छा ये सुना वो सुना ठीक है यार हम लोग देख लेंगे. Pareshji himself made that statement and put it out from his own handle. So
Okay, so there is homework that you have to go back and do. Okay, so we're waiting for the next word on Hera Pheri 3, but eagerly looking forward to your film Kesri Jeev coming up 23rd of May. Sunil Shetty, do you do anything that is superstitious before a film release?
no, I used to at one time, but
Like what? What's the
now-
craziest thing that you've done?
I mean, probably go to all the temples possible and go to areas where there's a lot of walking to do, believing that this will, create that magic. But now, honestly, focus on the work, focus a lot more on the post-production of things with the directors, understanding it and give it your best shot. Because now it's about what your content is. You know, there were times when sometimes bad films also worked. Today that doesn't happen. Today, because 1 in 100 films are working. So for that to happen, you better have a great product. And somewhere down the line, you know, seeing the appreciation for this, I'm hoping that we at least, it's only about scraping through now. Sailing through, we'll see.
Absolutely. Okay, just a rapid fire in the end. Your favorite film starring Suniel Shetty?
Border.
Okay, that didn't take very long. Your favorite actor?
Amitabh Bachchan.
Your favorite actress?
There were a lot. Sharmila Tagore, Mumtaz Ji. I mean, huge fan of theirs.
None of the present lot?
Present Alia Bhatt. I think she's absolutely brilliant as an actor. Brilliant.
And your favorite political leader?
My Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi.
I told you, you're a Modi Bhakt, you're a Sanghi. That's how you're described on social media, if you give this answer.
But that doesn't matter. I love the man because he's made us aware about our culture, our people. And if tomorrow there's another leader who believes in the same, I'm his fan. I mean, Gadkari ji, I love him for the kind of work that he's doing. You know, every time I drive on a highway and I see, wow, this is a highway to heaven, I know he's responsible for it. So people who are great for the country are the people you wish good for.
Okay. As an Indian citizen, your message to Pakistan?
Leave us alone. We've never, ever indulged. Leave us alone. Help your own people by putting an end to the organizations that exist in your in your own backyard. Because when we travel and you meet Pakistani general public, there's a lot of love for India. There's a lot of love for our cinema, our music, our actors, our sportsmen. Try and get rid of people from your own backyard, and let's not deny that they don't exist in our backyard.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Suniel Shetty. Always a pleasure speaking with you, and always a pleasure going down memory lane from Balwan, Gopi, Border, Dhadkan, to Hera Pheri, Main Hoon Na, and beyond. Waiting for Hera Pheri 3 and your update on that. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you for having me here. Always lovely.